Abundance Deep Dive Day 20. And today was all about using your mental capacity and using it efficiently and eliminating where you're wasting energy, wasting resources. It plays into the 80-20 principle of 80% of your results come from 20% of the work, and essentially eliminate everything else. And it sounds like it's so big, right? Especially if your space is cluttered and your life is cluttered and it's chaotic. Like that can be really, really heavy. Like for me right now, I'm looking at the other side of my room and there's just little bits of stuff kind of everywhere, and it's enough that it's starting to drive me crazy, although it would probably take 10 minutes to just straighten up. So instead of thinking about it, day in and day out, just take that 10 minutes, clean it up, sort it all away, and then it's done, right? You don't have to think about it. So it's those little things that added up everywhere else in your life. Where are those pieces that are just kind of sucking you dry? And it's as simple as that. Steve was talking about in his office when he's shooting the videos for our Zoom calls and for this deep dive, that there's nothing in his office, and you can see it. It's very plain and simple, and he finds that that's sparks creativity for him. And I find I'm somewhat the same, but I need to have some things surrounding me that inspire me, and some things that I've previously created that it's like, you know what, I really like that piece. I love how I felt when I made it. And I want to keep that momentum going. Everything else, though, can go. And when I had 2,000 square feet in my own home studio a few years ago, it was almost like it was too much space. I was allowing myself to become a hoarder because I had so much space in order to store everything. But nothing ever really got put away. And nothing ever in the whole time that I lived there, in 5 years, did it ever all get organized and it was just like I could breathe. There was always something, and the creativity level was really low. I didn't put out a lot of art. I didn't put out a lot of classes. I didn't put out a lot of anything other than fires, because I was always racing to clean up and make space for whatever. And you'd think in 2,000 square feet, I ran out of space, and I'll post a couple photos of what it looked like at the worst. And eventually I just decided to leave. Like, I need to let this go, and I need to let some of these projects go. And that's my biggest takeaway that I can share with you guys from my own personal perspective, which is, if you've got broken agreements with yourself, so you promised yourself that you would work on a project, and you promised yourself that you would finish something and it's half started, if you haven't touched it in the last, and you can decide the time frame. For me, it's kind of the last month, last 2 months. Sometimes you can go to 6 months. If you really need to start and it's like too much to jump in, go the last year. If you haven't touched it in the last year and you're not planning on touching it in the next year, let it go. It doesn't matter what it is. So if it's art supplies, if it's books that you haven't read, movies that you haven't watched, projects that you thought you would take on but you just haven't, turn around, sell the stuff for whatever you can get for it, or donate it, and let it go. Clear out all of that shit out of your life, and you'd be amazed that when you are left with the bare minimum, how that suddenly sparks creativity, and that becomes the jumping off point. Right now I'm in the process of clearing out the rest of my storage unit. So with selling off half of my art supplies, I am getting to the tipping point of, do I really need to have a storage unit, or can I liquidate 90% of it and maybe figure out where to store the last 10%? Maybe a family or a friend could store it in their garage and take up very little space, and then I don't have to pay that money every month, and I don't have the burden of knowing that all of my crap is crammed into this space. Or it becomes, you know what, it is a benefit to keep it, but it's super, super organized, where I'm not jumping over stuff to try and get to the things that I need to access. So there's an opportunity to clear out some stuff. And I have to say that I'm actually really excited to do it. I'm enlisting the help of some people to help me pack away some of the stuff that's been sold, and pack away the stuff that I'm keeping, and then just reorganize it. I have a plan already in mind of what I want it to look like. And then it's just a simple, drive out there, spend a day, and then it's done. And it could be done for a while. So just one of those things that once it's done, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. It doesn't take up that energy, and I can just be free of that. And the feeling from that is incredible. I'm finding that there's a few things that are starting to slowly eat away at me, that they're nothing big, you know, in one small chunk. It's just like these little tiny pieces, but there's lots of them that need to come together in the next 10 days or so. So by the time this challenge is over, so that I can have a clean slate, like completely free myself of the past and let it all go. So that's what I'm working on. I've done it before in big chunks. I mean, downsizing from 2,000 square feet down to a 10 by 10 storage unit and a Prius C. It was huge. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, instead of it being like packed to the ceiling in my storage unit, I'd like to be able to walk around in there and try that on for a month, and let's see how that feels, and do I really need to keep the stuff that's left, or can I let that go? So a little bit of evaluation every single step, and it's amazing that when I'm in that space how easy it is to let things go and just forgive myself too for having good intentions but not following through, and realizing that I broke that agreement with myself and forgiving myself for doing that, and then letting it go. And by getting it out of my life, it just frees that space for the new to come in, right? New ideas, new opportunities, and to be able to grow. So try it on, see how that works, and let me know. And I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.